Welcome to ReginaldESQ. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Tier 4 German heavy tank, the Durchbruchswagen 2. I don't know any German, so I've probably totally stuffed that pronunciation. I apologise to any German people if I have. So, is it any good? Well, I'm going to answer that by telling you a little story. Just before World War II, Rommel, the famous General Field Marshal, tank commander, was in Africa doing a fact-finding expedition. The food there didn't agree with him and he became very constipated. When he finally managed to pass a stool, it was very large. He put a toothpick through each end, put little wheels on it, held it up above his head and proclaimed, Durchbruchswagen 2. The 2 of course standing for number 2s. True story. And that is my way of telling you that this tank is a piece of shit. I've never said that about a tank in World of Tanks before, but I'm saying it now. Let's get into the review. It has 420 hit points, which is very good for a Tier 4 tank. Weighs from 30 to 33 tonne, has 300 horsepower and a top speed of 35. I did look at a couple of other reviews on the internet and searched around to make sure that I wasn't going to bag this tank overly too much. I just want to see if what other people thought of it. And they completely bagged the tank. And they also said it was slow, which I don't think is fair. I think it's actually a fair speed. If you look at the Matilda, which is a Tier 4 medium, but it's really a heavy tank, it only goes 25 kilometers an hour. So I think 35 is fine for the fact that it's a heavy tank. Traverse speed of 32 is quite slow, so it's not an agile tank, even though the actual speed is okay. The armor we'll talk about in Tank Inspector. The turret traverse is 42, which is quite respectable. Quite good. The view range of 330 meters is around average, and the signal range of 710 is fantastic. That's very, very good signal range. So you can ask for help from a long way away. Now, let me have a quick look at the grind on this tank for you. I think the reason some people say it's slow is with the stock engine, it's very slow. Once you get the good engine, it speeds up quite a bit. I think a lot of people just get the turret and maybe the gun and then bypass everything else and get the next tank, because once you drive the tank, you will probably want to do that too. You just want to get off this tank as fast as possible. I always try and make tanks elite if I'm going to review them, so I played 71 games in this tank, and I have a 38% win rate in it. And yeah, I wouldn't have, if I was just grinding a tank to get, and I came across this, I would have just got rid of it as soon as possible and bypassed everything, but I didn't because I wanted to review it. Radio is very good. The tracks give you a increase from 30 to 32 traverse, nothing great. The turret is the same armor values all around, it's just a lot heavier, has the same view range, and also has the same traverse speed, so it's not much of an upgrade. Unfortunately, you have to get it to get to the next tank, so you can't really bypass it. There's 2 guns. This one here is basically a derp gun, and this one is basically the top gun, the one I use. The derp gun, the armor piercing ammunition, forget about it. It does good damage, 110, but it's only got 43 pen. You won't be able to penetrate virtually anything. The derp gun is a 38 and does 175 damage. Works great on light tanks, and that's about it. Everything else it won't penetrate. Has a reasonable rate of fire, 0.55 accuracy, which is absolutely terrible, and a 2.3 aiming time, and I found it to be useless. This gun is the top gun for the tank, and is also not good. What I'm going to do actually is let's compare the gun. Let's get that gun up. And then let's get, actually I'll put that one on the right. Let's get, say, some other Tier 4. The trouble with this tank is there's a lot of good tanks at Tier 4. So let's get this gun up. This is the T40. So I'll put that gun there. Then we'll get the T28. Now T40 is a tank destroyer. Not a really fair comparison, but it'll do for the purposes of this. Then we've got the T28, and then let's get the Matilda. Okay, there we go. So we've got T40, T28, Matilda, and the D.W.II. Rate of fire, Well, the tank destroyer's got 16.22, which is quite reasonable. The T28 has 22.22, which is quite good, very good. The Matilda has 28.57, which is insanely good. And the D.W.II has 25, which is also very, very, very good rate of fire. So no problem there. The T40 has a penetration of 128, which is exceptional. The T28 has a penetration of 112, which is very good. The Matilda has a penetration of 121, which for a medium tank is insane. And the D.W.II has a penetration of 67, which is, as it sounds, totally and utterly inadequate. You will penetrate light tanks from the front. Some light tanks you'll have trouble penetrating even. From the side, some medium tanks at close range you can penetrate them. Some of them you have trouble penetrating them in the side. And at longer ranges, even at Chi-Hei, I was bouncing off. And I will show you a little bounce off clip so you can get to see what it does bounce off. However, if you put premium ammo in this thing, it goes up to 130, which is almost double the penetration. So yeah, then it starts to penetrate tanks. But if you're just using standard ammo, which I do most of the time, the tank is terrible. Like I say, anyone who tells you this tank is good, I guarantee you they're using gold ammo exclusively. It has a damage of 70, which I think is quite reasonable at this tier. The Matilda does 55 damage, which is lowish, but it has very good rate of fire. The T28 does 85 damage, which is fantastic. It's an awesome gun, that one. And the T40 does 115 damage, which is also a fantastic gun, but it has a lower rate of fire. T40 accuracy 0.41, T28 0.34, which is very good, Matilda 0.36, which is very good at this tier, and the D.W.II has 0.4, which is also not very good at this tier. It also has a long aiming time at 2.3 compared to 1.9 on Matilda, 1.7 on T40, and also 2.3 on the T28, but it outclasses the gun in pretty much every other department. So yeah, the gun is bloody awful and is a huge problem with the tank. So you have basically armor, which almost everybody can penetrate, and a gun which does not allow you to penetrate hardly anybody. That combined with absolutely terrible camouflage means that once you're spotted, everyone can see you, or even and you're easily spotted. Everyone who shoots at you will penetrate you. You will try and shoot back and won't be able to penetrate them, and you explode. Yeah. Now, during the gameplay that you will see, my crew is not fully trained. So, granted, the accuracy will be better with a fully trained crew because it does make quite a difference to accuracy. And probably aim time and things like that will improve. So most of the games you see, the crew will be between 80 and 90% trained. I have equipped vents to increase their skills by 5% to help compensate a little bit. I've also got the gun lane drive to improve the aiming time, and I'm carrying binoculars as well. And then we've got the small repair kit, large repair kit, large medical kit, and I carry 5 rounds of premium ammo, which I pretty much need most of the time. If you wanted to have a little bit of a better time in this tank, then you fire premium ammo pretty much exclusively, because you do need it on pretty much most tanks that you shoot at, especially if you're in a tier 5 game. But it just depends on whether you actually want to spend that much coin on ammunition. Alright, so we'll get into the gameplay. I'll get a tank inspector, then I'll show you a clip of it not penetrating tanks, and then we'll get into a couple of games. And the other thing I just wanted to say too, the shell velocity on this tank is quite slow. That's another thing too, like much slower than the other tanks, the other ones we just compared the guns with. So what that means is very hard to hit moving targets. The shell also goes very high because it's not very powered. You have to aim higher to get it to hit the target, to travel the distance. So as well as that, it makes it very hard to hit weak spots, especially at range, because your shell's going so slow and it's going in an arc, so it's very hard to hit a weak spot. So really, that combined with the poor accuracy, you really have to be at medium to close range, where your enemy... Sorry, I was just saying where your enemies will almost certainly spot you. So, yeah. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's get into it. Okay, here we are in Tank Inspector with the Durchbruchswagen 2. Let's have a look at it in the colorized view, and we can see that here the large frontal plate is 50mm thick, as is the other plate here, and the turret is also 50, so it's quite uniform. This upper plate here is only 35mm thick, but it's quite heavily sloped. The rest of the armor though, like this plate here and this plate here, are quite flat. There's no sloping at all, so it's not a very good design. The side of the tank is 50mm, as is the side of the turret, 50mm, and the rear of the tank is 50mm, and the rear of the turret is 50mm. The cupola is also very good at 50mm, which is good to see, except for the little top bit. Okay, so we've got 50mm all around. Unfortunately, this tier 50mm is inadequate, and people will punch holes through it very easily. You've got to consider that the three other guns I showed you, the Matilda, the T.W.II, they've all got, you know, pen over 100. So 50 presents no problem, even when angled. And you can angle this at 40-45 degrees because of the uniformity of the armor. So even with that, they just punch holes through it. They don't care. It makes no difference. Like, see here, okay, I've got that angled at, say, that's close to 45 degrees, isn't it? And it's equivalent 66 instead of 50. Right? The only thing is, if you meet another D.W.II, one of these, with our gun pen of 67, you actually have trouble penetrating another tank the same as yours. It is actually hard to penetrate them. Unless you get close range. If you're at sort of, you know, more than 100 meters, you really have trouble penetrating them, unless you can get down to this top deck. But even then, I've bounced off the top deck, being, you know, angled like that sort of angle. I've bounced off it. Should have gone in, but I don't know why it bounces, but it does. The mantlet is strong in parts. It's very patchy. So here, for example, it's 50. We get over here and it's overlaid. It's great, equivalent of 130 because it's overlaid the armor underneath. But yeah, usually as you get closer to the gun, you start to get some weak parts. So they can punch through the mantlet. And look, in a way, it could be a good side scraping tank because you can present the side, and look, that's 100, equivalent of 100 there, roundabout. So that makes it good for side scraping. But of course, if you're pointing your gun at them, which you probably will be if you're trying to shoot them while you're side scraping, they just punch a hole through the turret, through the mantlet. So even though your side's well covered and you're doing all the right thing, because the mantlet, the front of the turret is fairly flat, they just punch holes straight through this or through here. So it sort of negates the whole point of side scraping. To be a good side scraper, you also need to have a strong turret, and this doesn't have a turret strong enough to allow you to side scrape effectively. So the tank isn't very good. You can do the old pop up over the hill, take a shot, but if they hit you, they will penetrate you. You won't bounce anything except some tier 4 light tanks. That's all you really can bounce. That's about all I can tell you about the armor. Good luck. AMX-40 tier 4 light tank, but it is a very well armored tank. I'm still using standard ammunition. His gun has very poor penetration, so he's actually having trouble penetrating me as well. A bit of a funny one, this one.
We didn't even scratch them. One of our tracks is damaged. We didn't penetrate their armor. That one didn't go through.
But this is giving you a bit of an idea of what the tank can and can't do. Or mostly what it can't do.
We didn't penetrate their armor. That one bounced.
Trying to aim the driver's vents, driver's viewports, tracks.
They're knocked out. Smother those flames. Critical.
He finally got a penetration on me and set me on fire.
We didn't even scratch them. The radio man is bleeding. We can't rely on
Trying to track him, finally do.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
Aiming for the driver's viewports.
The antenna is damaged. We can only talk locally. Ricochet. We didn't even scratch them. We've repaired the engine, but we can't go very fast. We didn't penetrate their armor.
Someone else gets him. The B.W.I. French heavy tank tier 4.
Ricochet.
one of the other tier 4 heavies. Now admittedly I can't pen him, but he probably couldn't pen me either. His gun's not good either.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
I switched to premium shells. Blind fired one.
We didn't penetrate their armor. That one didn't go
That was a
through.
premium.
Enemy armor is
And so was
damaged.
that one we need. Excelsior.
We didn't even scratch them. Critical hit. We didn't even scratch them. We didn't penetrate their armor. That one didn't go through.
Going for the AT2 from above.
That one bounced.
That was a premium round. It bounced off his cupola.
We didn't penetrate
Top
their
deck of the
armor.
back, premium round bounce. Now we're back to
We
standard
hit one
shells.
of our own vehicles.
We accidentally hit our own tank, so it does penetrate a marauder.
We didn't even scratch them.
Okay, this is 511 meters, very long range. But it does give you an idea of how long the
We
shell
didn't
travel time is
penetrate their armor.
and how much the penetration dissipates over distance.
Critical hit.
Well, I managed to penetrate my own tank. Now the heads up.
That one didn't go through.
Just switched to premium ammunition.
We didn't penetrate their armor. Penetration.
Managed to penetrate the T-14.
Critical hit. We didn't even scratch them. Critical hit. We didn't
I'm out of
penetrate their
premium
armor.
ammunition now. I'm using standard
We
ammunition again.
didn't even scratch them.
And as you can see, not having much luck.
The rangefinder took a hit. We can only shoot close
Couple of
targets.
critical hits.
We didn't penetrate their armor. We didn't even scratch them. We didn't penetrate their armor. We didn't penetrate their armor.
I've just switched to premium.
Penetration.
And I'm aiming at the upper part. You can see the hit mark there.
We're immobilized.
14 mils of armor it is up
They're
there.
knocked out.
Didn't go through.
Move out.
Okay, the map is Sevagorsk and it's a tier 4 match. We are top of the tree. There's a D.W.II on the other side as well. We have a Matilda, they don't. I'm glad about that. And there's no artillery. I'm also glad about that. So, obviously I'm not going to show you all the games where I did terrible. But I will show if there's a tier 5 match as well, so you can see how it goes there. This match was just a pretty good match. Something I did forget to mention too, DW haven't officially, but have basically announced that this tank is crap, because this tank gets preferential matchmaking, which means that you will never find yourself against the tank any higher than tier 5. So it does not get put in tier 6 matches. So all your matches are tier 4, tier 5. Okay, so T28 has quite poor armor.
Armor is damaged. Enemy armor is destroyed.
30 mils in the front, 20 on the side, something like that.
Enemy is hit.
Covenator's not great either.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
And we bounced a shot, I think. 0 damage.
Penetration. Enemy armor is damaged.
Actually, I might just stop it, have a look, and see if I can see where that shot bounced. No, I can't see. Oh, back to it. So head so we can penetrate the side. Generally I found I can't penetrate them in the front. Even with premium.
Enemy is hit.
But the side I can get to. You conveniently turn the side onto me again. At this sort of range I probably have trouble penetrating that other D.W.II. So it's the same as us, that tank.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
The enemy team is being unusually aggressive. They've just flown through over to our side of the map. And actually getting surprised here by tanks flanking us from the sides, from the back. T40, very dangerous tank destroyer.
We didn't even scratch them.
Has good frontal armor, 51 mils, which is slightly more than us, 50 mil.
Penetration.
I was a bit lucky this game too. The accuracy gods were smiling upon me. Not great accuracy on this gun, and that combined with my crew not being fully trained, I missed a lot. But this game, the shots just seemed to hit. I was pretty lucky. Now the AMX-40 you just saw in the clip I showed you with the tanks I couldn't pen very easily. I wouldn't be able to penetrate it anyway. Unless it was a lucky shot. So I decided to go after this guy. I saw him go past there and I thought, I don't want him getting behind us, so we need to take care of it. We're winning. It's 8-5. There he is. Oh, there's two of them there. M3 Lee. I must say, playing against D.W.IIs when I have in the past, I've never ever thought they were a very good tank. I've never had trouble dispatching one before. So it's interesting being on the other side and actually driving one now. I'd never thought a lot of the M3 Lee fighting against the M3 Lee either. Although in this tank it's actually a challenge. So I've never had a challenge fighting an M3 Lee before, but in this tank it is a challenge. Accuracy letting us down there.
We didn't penetrate their armor. We didn't even scratch them.
So I'm just trying a bit of side scraping there, just to see how we go with some side scraping. Once I started side scraping, he seemed to stop, so obviously he didn't think he'd be able to penetrate me.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
getting shot at from somewhere else, and it's that guy there. He managed to find a gap, the M8A1. Did a fair bit of damage to me. So I go up here, side scrape, but he's now hiding. The M3 Lee's dead. I can see another a D.W.II down there heading in, so I'm going to charge in as well. So as you can see, like the speed's not bad. I'm doing 40 now, so I mean it does more than 35 if you're going down a hill anyway. So for a heavy tank, I reckon that's pretty good. So I see the D.W.II going to that side, so I decided to go the other side so we can basically do a bit of teamwork and confuse the hell out of this guy so he doesn't know which way to look. And if I see him looking my way, I'll back off, let the D.W.II get him. If he's looking at the D.W.II, then I'll charge in and get him. Looks like he's looking at the D.W.II.
Penetration.
Beautiful. I go for a bit of a ram, but he moves and I get the shot in anyway. They've only got one tank left. And it's on the other side of the map. So I think actually we end up capping. Ended up being a fairly convincing victory, that one. Managed to hit a lot of tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tanks we damaged. And another one we tracked or something. So yeah, good. We pretty lucky actually that game. Everyone just sort of drove up to us. So you can see there we got top score for experience, and damage wise, yep, we did the most out of either team. So good game for us. But then we were top of the tree. You sort of expect to do that. And we fired 39 shots. 20 of those were direct hits, so suffering a little bit from accuracy there. Penetration 17, which is quite good actually. Damage 867. We received 4 hits, bounced one of them. That was from that Covenator, but I'm not sure where it bounced from. We damaged 10, destroyed 5, which was excellent. And a little bit, pretty good amount of damage assistance there too for a tier 4 game. And we earned some money. 729 experience, which was enough to get first class mastery. Okay. Okay, it's a tier 5 game. Most of the tanks are tier 5. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tier 4s on our team, and 1, 2, 3, 4 tier 4s on their team. All the rest of the tanks are tier 5. So it's a good game to show you how this tank works against tier 5 tanks. I did have another tier 5 game where I did quite a bit more damage, and I thought that would be a good one to show you, but when I looked at it, I only shot at tier 4 tanks, so it wasn't much point to it, whereas this one actually shoot it to tier 5 tanks, so it's worth seeing how it goes. I don't have very good camouflage, so I'm looking for a spot where I can shoot and have a little bit of cover as well. So I've got some hard cover to move behind if I need to. Doing some preemptive shooting, which if you've watched my videos before, I do a bit of preemptive shooting sometimes, especially if I've got cheap ammo. So preemptive shooting is just there's bushes there which you can't see very well at the moment, but I'm just shooting into spaces where people normally hide, and you never know, I might fluke a hit. Sometimes you even get a kill. Okay, here we go, it's a VK. I just took the time to start blowing away the cover. I'm getting hit. I wasn't sure from where. Then I look up, it's from up that ridge over there. Someone's come right up. So I managed to track him with that shot. Didn't actually do any damage to him. KV-220, a bit ambitious perhaps.
Penetration.
Alright, so I managed to pierce the T-25 from the side, that's good. I mean, literally in this tank, whenever you penetrate anybody, you feel really good. In fact, you actually managed to get a penetration. I'm getting shot at pretty badly here. Move position again. Okay, KV1. I immediately switched to premium ammunition because I know from previous experience that I cannot penetrate a KV1 in the side, in the front, in the back, in the turret, in the weak spots. Can't penetrate it anywhere without premium ammunition. Well, so far I haven't been able to anyway. I'm a bit worried about that issue coming around the back, but I've got plenty of tanks at the front to deal with as well. We have got a tank out in the back. So 220 premium ammunition, we managed to put it through that flat frontal plate. Next one bounces, and the next one gets hit. So a bit of success there. I've only got one premium round remaining. And I miss with it. Panzer IV.
Penetration. Enemy armor is hit.
Okay, so our tank manages to take care of that issue. That's good. See the 220 there. I want to get the T20 in the back, but I know this KV1's going to have me if I do that, so just trying to track that KV1, and there's no way I'm going to penetrate it now. I've only got standard ammo left. Also just to distract him, give him something else he has to shoot at so my teammates can hopefully get shots without being fired straight at. Make this guy he has to aim at me and fire at me, although he actually hit me, which wasn't good. Alright, so they do get him. So now I figure I might go and try and see if I can help with this KV-220T, which is a premium tank, I think. Which I think that was some sort of a gift tank or something for testing the beta or something like that. I don't know. Don't think you can buy them. So the Panzer IV sitting down there. I should be able to kill him. He's only got 5 health. Somebody else gets him. And the Chinook coming at us. He's pretty much unaware of my presence, so I managed to get a couple of shots into him. Pretty lucky. Now they've only got 2 tanks left, so we're basically winning this easily. There's an AT2 there, which I cannot penetrate in any way, shape or form. The other tank's gone, it's only AT2 left. I'm heading up there, but I don't expect to be able to do anything to it. I can't shoot through its cupola, or I can't shoot through the back of it. So, and our team is capping, and they've killed it. So that's it. Okay, so we've got a Confederate badge there, and that was once again good enough for Class 1 that game also. One thing you could see there, that you can penetrate a KV-1 if you have premium ammunition and you hit a weak spot of the tank. And the KV-1 is probably one of the toughest tanks you will come across. The other thing to mention is tanks that fire HE, like a KV-1 that fires HE with a derp gun, will one-shot kill you. I've been one-shot killed a couple of times by KV-1s, and other tanks that fire, pretty good HE will, almost kill you or kill you. So you do have to be careful against HE ammo. It's a bit like being in a Japanese tank. They know you're weak and they target you. So we did quite good there, damaging quite a few tanks, but we didn't kill any. Hence the Confederate badge. We finished 3rd for experience on our team, which is not bad considering they're nearly all tier 5 tanks. There was only, I think, 4 tier 4s on each team, so we did pretty well. And next screen. So we fired 30 shots, of which 14 were direct hits, so not very accurate there. 11 of those penetrated, and we did use 5 premium shells, although I think I missed with one of them. Damage 613. We received 4 hits. They all penetrated, of course. It's 2 damaged. That can't be right. Spotted 2. Damaged 7 vehicles. 714 spotting damage. So we did quite a bit of spotting damage in that game. And we would have made about 13,000, but we got some bonuses and stuff, and that's still not bad. So even with the premium ammunition of 5 rounds, we still would have made a profit. So you probably could afford to use a lot of premium ammo a bit more if you wanted to actually enjoy playing the tank a bit more, because you can see with premium ammo it's actually playable. But you know, I personally, I think a tank should do well, or well enough, without premium ammo. If you have to use premium ammo, then really the tank's a dud. You know, sure, there's going to be some targets you've got to use premium for, but you have to use it for just about everything, then the tank's just no good, in my opinion. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching my review of the D.W.II. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm now going to flush the tank. That's about the only thing you can do with it. Wipe the screen and start to use the next tank in the series, and hope that's better. If you did like the review, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more crappy reviews, please subscribe to ReginaldESQ. In the meantime, don't drive this tank and have fun.